This meeting is being recorded.
Good. Now you got their attention.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can we all stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Can we have a moment of silence for all those people that are no longer with us, and hope that somehow peace is found throughout the world? Okay, you can take your seats. And I can do this by myself, so I'm going to introduce some of our officers that you people may know and may not know. First one is Joe Bacco. And she's our second vice chair. Our first vice chair would be Ingrid.
Yes.
And then our third vice chair, it would be Angela. Angie, raise your hand. She handles communications because I'm so good at it, I don't. And then we have, who do we have? We have our treasurer, Maureen, in the back. And is Vanessa Jones here? Oh, there she is. She's hiding. So, like I said, I couldn't do this by myself. Just a couple of notes. Bathrooms are out this door. And they kick us out at 8 o'clock, so the meeting's got to be over by 7:30, so you guys can kind of commiserate a little bit and then leave, because last time we kind of overstayed our welcome. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Joe, who's going to take over the program. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Good evening. As Jay mentioned, I'm the second VP. Is that the designation? And that's in charge of programs. But as Jay mentioned also, I have a team. So Dorsey Ward, Michael Hansen, Vincent Veza are all on my team. And big shout out to Dorsey, who is not able to be here tonight, but he organized this meeting tonight to get our candidates here and get us informed on their campaigns and what we can do to help them. And then also Andy and Vince worked tirelessly to get the communication out to you all, so you're informed of the program. So thank you to the team and thank you for attending. Tonight we're presenting our representatives for the State House. And with us here are Sabrina Berry, and she's running for the, she'll be up here shortly. Sabrina Berry is running for House District 82. And then Joanne Chesley is running for House District 83. And I guess the best way to find out what districts is on your voter registration card to see what district you're in. And I never know if they're changing, but I'll let the candidates handle all that information. They're here, we're here to learn about their campaigns and what we can do specifically. I don't want anybody to leave here without an action item that they want to take home with them, that we can help them in some way get elected, because it's very important that we take care of our local level and getting our candidates in there. Okay, so let's see. Dorsey had the program set. I don't think help me out. I know Diamond Staton-Williams is also on the program, is not here yet, might be coming a little later.
She was in Raleigh.
Oh,
She may be in Raleigh.
maybe en route. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sabrina or Joanne, do you remember which one was coming up next? Sabrina? Okay, so Sabrina Berry will come up and talk to us about her campaign and her representing them.
So y'all not gonna clap, y'all ain't gonna say. You wanna go back in order? You wanna go in order? That's all right, y'all. Give it up for Diamond.
Go ahead.
All right. I didn't want to go out of order. Well, thank you, Senior Dems, and thank you guys for allowing us to be here today. Today, we do stand at a critical juncture in our state's history. The fabric of our democracy is being tested. It's time for us to rise above the occasion. Our mission is clear, and Miss Andy put it out on Mobilize. Let's take the House back. It's time. It's been far too long. Our voices have been drowned out by partisan politics and political theaters. Our communities have been neglected, our values undermined, and our hopes for a better future put on hold. But we refuse to be silenced any longer. We refuse to let fear and division dictate our destiny. Our House of Representatives is not just a building, it's a symbol of our democracy. It's where our elected representatives gather to debate, legislate, and advocate for the people. Yet, in recent years and lately, it's become a battleground for partisan gridlock and political theaters. We cannot afford to let this continue. We cannot afford to let the will of the people be overshadowed by petty politics. And that's why I call on each and every one of you to join me in this noble cause. Let's reclaim the House of Representatives. Let's restore integrity, accountability, and transparency in our government. Together, we will and can fight for affordable housing, quality education for all of our children, fair wages for workers, reproductive justice, family court reform, and a clean environment for future generations. We can and we will stand up to corruption, gerrymandering, and injustice wherever it may hide. We will be the voice of reason, compassion, and progress in a world that seems often chaotic and divided. Let's roll up our sleeves, hit the streets, and mobilize like never before. Let's knock on doors, make phone calls, and spread the message of hope and unity. Let's show the world what democracy really means. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. May we find the courage and wisdom to build a future we desire. Together, we can and we will take back the House. I am Sabrina Berry, your Democratic candidate for House District 82.
I forgot to mention that we're going to let all the candidates speak, and then we'll have a question and answer afterwards. So you can really dive into some issues. So you want to sit up here, and then we'll. Diamond, do you want to come up? Joanne? Okay.
I was late. That's the appropriate thing.
Okay, so some of you have not met before. A lot of you I have, so I'll just give a little bit of background. Oh, that's right. That's right. Gotta do that. So again, I'm Joanne Chesley, and I am running for House of Representatives, District 83, which is inclusive of Kannapolis, China Grove, and Landis. How did I come to this? Because people ask me that all of the time. How did I make this decision to run for office? Okay. I've spent my years, my career life in education, 36 years in the classroom and as a school principal and then as a college professor. I've been retired for almost 12 years, enjoying golf and my grandkids and gardening. And although that's really good, why am I doing this now? Because I just got really fed up one morning. I just woke up listening to a recap of legislation that's passed over the last year. And I don't know, it just hit me that morning that while on many occasions, I have written to my legislators and expressed how I felt or picked up the phone, that somehow that was not enough for me anymore. And I decided to follow the advice of a few of my friends and some people that I had gotten calls from. I got a call pre-COVID from Ella Smalls and said, you need to think about running for office. And at the time, I went up to a couple of interest meetings, and then COVID set in, and that kind of just fell by the wayside. And then, then there are always the other things that you consider, like I have 5 sisters. And some of my sisters weren't really comfortable with it just because of the climate in our country right now. You know, the fear, but they also know, their sister Joanne, that I'm not too much governed by fear. I try to make some sensible decisions, you know, and try to follow good advice. But I'm of the belief that not everybody can sit back and say, you know, we can't do this because of the dangers. Not everybody can do that. We can't afford that. So we all have a part in this. Some people step out and do this while other people support them this way and that way. And that's what we're asking of you and everybody that wants to see a change in North Carolina. So those are my introductory remarks. I would just kind of like to point up some things that I think make a difference for us, primarily as seniors. And I know there's some people in here that don't fit in that category. So oblige me if you will. I thank you for coming out to meet us and to hear why we want your votes and why we need your votes. I am 70 years old, and some of you are too. When we reach this time in our lives, there are certain things that we need that were not things that we needed when we were 20 or 30 or 40. When we were younger, we needed government to ensure that we had the right to vote at 18, or that we could get a loan to buy a home, a loan to pay for college. We needed reasonably priced childcare. We needed to know that our tax dollars would provide good education in the event that we had children. We needed to have access to credit to purchase a car. We needed the freedom to get reproductive health care of our choice. We needed good health insurance and life insurance that didn't unduly penalize us because of pre-existing conditions. We needed fairness in the justice system so that if we got into a situation, we would be entitled to a fair hearing. And if convicted, we would not be dealt a more severe blow just because of what we looked like. These were and still are very real needs, especially among our younger voters. Well, today they might add in legislation to legalize marijuana. Well, some seniors might want that too. But now that we are, what we need is, many of us have our homes, we have our cars and our Social Security checks, but many, however, do not. North Carolina ranks 9th among the states for the oldest population. Within 7 years, there will be more people over 65 years old than under 17. And we currently have more people over 60 than we do under 18. And this is according to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, the Adult Aging and Adult Services Division. And here are other reasons why we need our legislators to work hard for us. 27% of people over 65 years old live alone. 35% of people over 65 have a disability. 17% are still working. 22% are at or below poverty level. Median household incomes among 65-year-olds today is $60,000. But for a senior living alone, a yearly income of $17,000 is considered poverty level. The leading causes of death in North Carolina among 65-year-olds and older, for those with diseases of the heart, 22% and 21% due to cancer. 22% of 65-year-olds and older have ambulatory disabilities. 23% cannot live independently or do self-care. 15% have lost most of their hearing, 7% have lost functional vision, and 10% have cognitive disabilities. So what do seniors in North Carolina need government to do for them? We need excellent health care. And thank God and thank the legislators for expanding Medicaid. That's the recent expansion is on now, and we need to make sure our neighbors and friends know to get in there and reapply in case they didn't qualify last time. The time is now. There are dissenters out there, though, who threaten to pull it back again. We must keep fighting, though it shouldn't be like that. Healthcare is a right. It is not a privilege. It is a right. We all do better when we all get better from our illnesses. When people are sick, they become unproductive. And this impacts society as a whole. They lose property because they have to make a choice between paying their mortgage or their rent and buying medication, or paying a bill and buying a prescription. Let's tell our representatives and senators in Raleigh to keep Medicaid on the front burner. We know that seniors are living longer, so I believe we need government to provide more options for aging in place. When older people do not yet require intensive assistance for heart or cancer or ambulatory issues and wish to stay in their own homes, perhaps there should be something like a tax credit, just like there's a child tax credit from the federal government, a state tax credit that would allow the senior to hire someone to come in and check on them 2 or 3 times a week. And this would allow them to not have to be on a waiting list to go into a nursing home, which many times sets seniors back emotionally, and then the decline happens physically. As seniors, we need to know that our state will flourish even when we are no longer here. How do we best ensure this? Through education. Of course, I'd say that, right? Through education. An uneducated society cannot survive and cannot thrive. In the 1800s, the notion, if you will, of a free, non-sectarian school system began to spread. And by 1970, the United States of America was considered the world's leading educational system. And up until 1990, we were actually closing the gaps between white and Black students in our public schools. Inequity in teaching, inequity in provision of resources, inequity in caring is at the very root of systemic failure for our government and for our nation. So as long as we continue to segment our population into the haves and the have-nots and provide more money to those who already have, we will continue to weaken our economic base. Those students to whom we are paying little attention, giving the least prepared teachers, putting in the worst school buildings, and relegating to the margins in so many other ways will always come back in some way as a burden to our state. Something that we could have prevented. So I say, send your representatives and senators a message that says, let's fight to protect the public school budget, education for a better North Carolina. Let's speak out against the opportunity scholarships that are not an opportunity at all for people who do not have the money to pay the rest of the tuition that the voucher does not cover. Seniors want to know not just that their own grandchildren and nieces and nephews are getting an excellent education, but that the world and that this state will be left in good hands. It's what we worked for. When we begin to see our state recognizing the potential in every student and supporting the goals of every student, we will be on our way up the rankings again. We don't have to stay in 43rd place for teacher salary or 49th place for per pupil expenditure. We didn't get those ratings because students failed to get their homework done, or parents couldn't make it to an open house, or schools failed to win even 1 game per season, or no students in the school won a 4-year scholarship to a university. Quite the contrary. All of these things might have happened had the schools been better resourced, with well-paid teachers, coaches, efficient, well-paid support staff, transportation for parents to get to school meetings, good old-fashioned textbooks, computers and tablets, improved nutrition, intensive SAT preparation, safe working athletic equipment for students, in-school healthcare, including mental health services for children, who are experiencing psychological unrest that's due to physical or sexual abuse, or due to gender identity, bullying, social media pressure, body image, and academic failure. Let's speak out against hate and division and separatist behavior. Let's speak out against segregating our kids once again under the guise of seeking Christian values. During the Obama era, we saw an increase of respect for humanity. That's what we want to bring back. No longer was it taboo to marry the person you loved who just happened to dress the way you dress. No longer were people breaking their necks doing double takes looking at interracial couples. More people began to at least consider fair immigration laws, as opposed to seeing all people of color who come into this country as a burden. We still have a lot of work to do here. We must speak out for our Latino communities. They are doing the work that many of us will not or do not or cannot do. Much of our economy grows because of their contributions. We must work for a fair and more speedy pathway to citizenship for these families so that they can fully participate and their children can be admitted to college, be eligible for grants and financial aid, and look forward to successful lives in North Carolina. When we ignore this valuable segment of the population, we block our opportunity as a state to optimize talents and resources that would boost our economy and our reputation across the country. As seniors, we often sit and shake our heads when we watch the evening news. What has happened to our youth? How can we reclaim them from opioids, from hate groups on the web, from online predators? We worry because we have grandchildren and nephews and nieces that age, and we want them to be safe. We absolutely must share this sentiment with our legislators. They need to know that school safety deserves their attention in the General Assembly. They need to know that open carry of weapons will put us all at risk as long as there is no state-funded mental health care available to all and court-ordered for many. They need to know that the decision to not require background checks for gun purchasers, whether it's open carry or concealed, was a bad decision. We still have 18-year-olds in our schools. They can buy guns, and they do. And they will even more now. So in closing, let me say that our Democratic representatives and senators have worked really hard to protect our interest as seniors, to protect our health and our well-being, and that of our children and our grandchildren and our communities. They have proposed bills like improving our democracy bill and the Fair Maps Act, and so many others. When you help me get to Raleigh, I will work with them to get fairness in voting, to fight some of the 36 unfair voting bills that have been proposed and passed at the hands of the current majority. I will help our Democratic legislators to fight for women's reproductive freedoms and strengthen public education. Please help me get there. Let's get people registered. Let's get them to the polls, and let's put concerted effort behind our words. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any technology issues here? Do that. Ta-da. Okay. It's yours. I'm gonna keep this. There you go.
Always.
Can you see me well? Can everybody online see me well? All right. Good evening, my seasoned Dems. I don't like to say senior because you're seasoned. I think one of the things that we have to remember that this room is full of wisdom and experience. And myself and younger adults need to make sure that we are tapping into that experience and that wisdom because it helps us move further and faster. We have to do this together. So I am currently your state representative for House District 73. What does that mean for you? You have someone in the room who thinks as you do. Our mission, vision, and values are aligned. We see what the future can be for our children. We know exactly what it takes to get to the places that we want to get to. You guys have seen me here before, right? We've talked about what's so important for us and our values. We've talked about education, making sure that our teachers are paid well so that they want to come to our school system and teach our children who need us the most, because that's our future. We've talked about mental health care and what that means for me personally and for others in our community. And we've also talked about health care. So we've gotten Medicaid expanded, which is great. The next step of that is expanding access to the health care that everyone deserves. One of the biggest issues that I see and have seen is that we need to allow people, nurses in particular, the opportunity to practice healthcare on their own. What happens now for a nurse practitioner is that she has to pay a doctor to sign off on her notes. Right, to be able to provide care. This is an economic development opportunity. Removing that barrier for nurses all over the state from having to pay a provider to sign off on their documentation in order for them to provide care is an economic development opportunity, especially in some of our smallest communities, where we know Medicaid expansion has given our hospitals and the systems extra opportunity. They've kept doors open for our hospitals in rural communities and helped bring people to those areas. So we need access. We need nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants to be able to operate at the top of their license. So that's what the SAVE Act does. So remember that, the SAVE Act. Whenever you guys are coming to Raleigh, and I anticipate seeing a lot of our seasoned adults in the room coming to Raleigh, advocating for different things that we need. It's not just education, but that access to care. I know we have a school board member in the room, and he can tell you exactly what the school system needs. He's advocated for that. I've seen emails and read some of his emails on the House floor, because that's how important it is. I'm listening to the people who are on the ground touching this work day in and day out. Not only am I listening to that, I understand where he's coming from. I see the value in our communities. And we have to make sure that we have people like myself, Sabrina, Joanne, and Dr. Kim Luter in places of power to be able to help push our agendas forward. Because it's not about us. Nothing that we do today is about us. I think there's a saying that says, you guys, you plant a tree, you're planting the tree to see the leaves, to see the fruit of what's something that you're never going to be able to see. Right? I think that's how that saying goes. Y'all have to grant me. You're the season of right? Right? That sounds about right. So we need you guys to continue to plant those seeds, because those trees have to continue to grow. Because it's not about us. Nothing that we do is about us. I didn't get up and say I wanted to run for a House of Representatives because of me. It was not about me. And I've told people this a lot. People ask me 10, 15 times, and I said no. And it was until the last person, who was a young adult, told me how much it meant for them and what it's going to mean for kids after them, that I decided to run. At every opportunity, we need to be able to open up access to the things that are important for us so that our future generations can bear the fruit. This joyride of a life is not about us. It's about what we're doing to help other people and to help the children that are coming behind us. So we need your help. We need your support. How are you going to help? How are you going to support? We need your time. talent. We need talent first, and then we need your treasures. So your time as far as volunteering, so phone calls, writing note cards, whatever it is that you guys have in your capacity to do as seasoned adults, please help us because we need you. You guys have talents that are unimaginable. You've worked in careers that I don't know about. I know what you can do. I know Andy is good at social media. Trust me, I get all those things. We need her. And we know there's other talents in this room. Let us know what those talents are. And lastly, we need your treasures, whether it's $2, $5, $25, $1,000, whatever you have, because it costs to run these races. It's not an easy feat, but we know exactly what it takes. That money helps us pay people to get things done for us. We're still working full-time jobs, sans Miss Joanne, doing everything that we have to do to maintain our households. But we also know we need yard signs, we need mailers, we need text messages, we need people that are going to help us raise money at every juncture. It is going to be a long year. You guys know who Sabrina's candidate is because he ran against me. And if I can beat him, she absolutely can beat him. But we need your help. The candidate that I have this year, you know, we'll find out. We'll find out. I have already heard from some friends across the aisle. They wanted to be kind. And I said, I'm going to be as kind as he is to me. So sometimes you have to gut punch people back too. It is what it is. We also know what Joanne's candidate is. And he was actually my OBGYN. Huh, imagine that. Right. And we also know who Dr. Kim Luter is up against. Our county is changing. It's changing. And we need every demographic of people at the polls in November to get us through the hump. We need everyone along the way to spread the word and make sure people are registered to vote and that they understand the importance of making it to the polls in November. So what do we need from you? Time. All right. The 3 T's. That's right. The 3 T's. TTT. All right. I'm Diamond. Thank you all.
Okay, I think you can see we've got 3 very strong candidates, and we want to support them and get them out there and do what we can to get them elected. And just a real quick story when we were talking about Diamond's opponent last time, who's now Sabrina's. I was in the line handing out blue ballots at my precinct voting place, and a gentleman from the other party came up to me. I don't know why he did. He came up to me. He said, "You see all those red shirts out there?" That was the other party. 15 to 20 people blocking the way or whatnot, flags, everything. And he said, "You see all those people? If he doesn't win, it is rigged." Oh no, not that. I go, he goes, and where's Diamond? And I go, well, he goes something about, where's she at? She's not even here. And I go, well, that's because she did not wait till election day to get out there. She was out there every day canvassing, talking to people. And I can tell you that because I was out there with her, and she worked tirelessly to talk to the people. And that's how you win campaigns. You talk to the people and you represent the people. And that's what we've got to do. And help them get out there and do that. And I came into this job saying I will never canvass, and that's all I do, and I love it. So I would encourage you to get outside your comfort zone. I have my precinct member here, Dolores Atkinson, who did not want to canvass. She canvassed with me for Latricia Glover, and Latricia is a Harrisburg Council Mayor Pro Tem, and I believe our precinct got quite a number of votes for her. So Dolores was out there canvassing with me and told me that was not her thing. And she did excellent, reminding me when I forgot to tell them about the new voter, the photo ID. So she was on top of that. And I even got Dolores to sit with me to do phone banking, which we both did for the first time together. And we survived and we got information out to several people. So if you can just step outside your comfort zone, if you don't, write cards, whatever the campaigns need, I'll have you come up here so you can answer questions. But actually, with all that I've been doing, I'm really fairly new. No, not fairly. I am brand new to this activism and have had to learn so much. So it would be good for us to know, how practically do we sign up on your website? Do you contact us? I mean, I want to make sure that we do the right steps for you to contact us for certain things. And I'm interested in the legislature part, how much we contact and what the route is for that. Because I've called some representatives and expressed I didn't call you. I knew you were voting the way I called some of the other representatives and said, what are you doing? You need to be getting this done and whatnot. But I need your guidance on that, on, what you expect when you're in the legislature, how we can support you and how we make our voices heard for our issues. So I'll bring you all up and let's have some questions here for our candidates
Well, I can, oh, go ahead. Tim.
I would say, if I can make a comment first.
certainly.
Over my years on the school board, it was rare to ever get a positive response or even any response from contacting legislators over the years. And so I was thrilled when you mentioned that you get emails from Sam and you read it on the floor. But even I have been redistricted in Simon's district, which I am thrilled about. And she is the only person, I'm not even in office anymore, and she's the only person who will reply to me. So just kudos to do that, and that is a great model and a great example of why we need more Dems.
Yes.
Who will respond to us. Those folks knew how I was registered. They had no need to respond to me.
Mhm.
So, which is a shame.
I can tell you, today I received a plethora of emails, like canned emails. You know what I mean by canned? Like it's everybody sending the same message over and over again about Israel and how we need to put up the Israeli flag, which I support our Jewish brothers and sisters. I also support our Palestinian brothers and sisters. There are some things that are not, it's just not for me to comment on. And I know from my faith as a woman of Christ, I don't want violence for anyone. I don't want violence for anyone. And we need to stand up for that at every cost. So there are so many different things that we get emails about. It is always nice to get a personalized email to say, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think about this? Because that helps spark ideas for me. But Sam's email was one that was on point. And if you guys don't remember, in September, October of last year, our school board changed how people get to be presented to us as candidates for school board has changed. So now it's a partisan race. That's even worse for us, right? I don't want to say for us, for our kids. Because now we have implanted politics and people's ideals, which have nothing to do with how they should receive education, into the education system. They've already pulled out funding for children. They're already not paying our teachers well. And then we're adding another layer of politics onto what our children should be receiving. I want to say should. are receiving.
Is that something that can be reversed? Because I remember that was.
Yes, it can be. It was a very, it was a very underhanded way to get something done without having your hands on it.
Back the house.
It can be. We just need people who are like-minded in the right places at the right time. And it's not just Cabarrus County, it's all over the state, because we have to have support from other people across the state to get something switched. So the way that came about, it was presented, squashed, and then added to a Senate bill where there was no conversation about it, which is unfair at its core. And if we talk about the United States and North Carolina being built on fairness, that was not it. That was not it. And it was unjust. And it was grimy. I say, just, it's a ick. So we can do things, but we, again, time, talent, and treasures. We just need people. We need help. We need support, because it's not going to just depend on us four. It's going to depend on the entire state. But please do send emails. Send emails, call us. My LA is a phenomenal woman. She used to be a town manager in Eastern North Carolina. So she knows how to navigate different things. I've had people call me from the county about foster care and different issues, and she's been able to help navigate. And that's important. You need someone who knows exactly how to work in different systems, because we operate in systems to get things done. Yes, Vin?
If we candidates could get closer behind the screen so they can see you.
Oh, sorry.
But I have a question as a wearing my precinct chair, and I know I've had this conversation with Andrea. For those of us who are precinct chairs, we'd like to entertain having events at the precinct level with the people that the people in the precinct can vote for, right? So in Midland and in Mount Pleasant, that would be Sabrina would be on that, and of course Kim Luder. And so in other parts of the county, in other precincts, it would be,
Right.
you would be at the top of that. Are you, ladies and other candidates, preparing with the party to work at the precinct level? Because we're staff here, right? We present senior issues, but the party is responsible for the line obligation, right? The precinct level, knock on doors and all that. A lot of us are wearing both hats,
Right.
and staff with the line, but I'm just wondering if you're working with Mackenzie and other people in the party, with Wendy Wood and so forth, to get those kind of events scheduled out between now and election day.
So I know we have a meeting coming up on the 26th of this month to coordinate campaigns and make sure that we're all in alignment. It would be nice, though, from a precinct perspective, to have one event, because we're going to be spread thin. Not only are we having to knock doors, raise money, we're having to go to a lot of community events. And you have to remember, like, I'm a mom and a wife. Sabrina's a mom. Joanne, as a grandma, we still have to have a life. There's a lot of stress that goes behind campaigning. And we need to be mindful of that as we move forward. Making sure that we show up at the right time, in the right space with maximum impact. I don't want to come to somebody's house and there's 2 people there.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Right. I want to come to somebody's house and there's 50, 60, 100 people there, because that's prime opportunity for us to get the word out, to make sure that people go away understanding who we are, and that we're able to touch more people than not.
And that's why we're talking about several candidates on that ticket where we can vote. So you have a much greater opportunity if people know that we're going to see who are the candidates for my candidate for assembly, my candidate for state senate, the 4 school board candidates, the 2 candidates for county commission. If we know there's only be one time for a meet and greet, it's gonna be a lot easier for us to get people at 73 Main and Mount Pleasant, or for Andrew to get folks over to the.
Yep.
The farm.
Yeah.
And then we see some
Yeah.
improvement around.
So, yeah, get all the precincts together, the precincts in that area to come together for that one event. A cluster. I think we did that before. Yeah,
Diamond, can you hear me?
I can, Wendy. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I just want to, on this subject, I just want to mention that Terry Gibson in precinct 0208 is working on another large candidate forum in the Logan community again, but she's also gonna put one in, she's gonna try to place it somewhere in 0208 and 0209. And I have my, master list of which districts those are. But we're gonna try to consolidate like groupings of precincts for these big candidate types of events. So just want to add that in.
There you got it. Thanks, Wendy.
You're welcome. I need cards.
We know. We heard.
I know.
You were-
All right.
Were you asking something, Andrea? Andy?
About cluster meetings.
Oh. I don't think that's our place to answer. I think that's,
No, I'm just.
You know what I mean?
It is how you guys that would like it because it's less treated one place.
concentrated.
For me, yeah. Concentrated, so.
Again, don't call us and have 2 people at your house. We love y'all. We love y'all, but y'all. Yeah.
Well, Obama showed up in the beginning, just one person was there.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but we know how hard you guys work, we really do.
I have a question. It's probably more for Joanne. Here in District 83, my district. Are you familiar with the tax hikes that have happened in Kannapolis?
Not.
Well, just, I guess within the last couple of weeks, everyone in the city limits, their taxes have gone up over 100%.
Yeah, on property taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I just wonder, I have a neighbor of mine, she's from Florida. She said they put a cap on it for age limits based on, like, let's say if you're 65 or over. So they can only do a 3% increase. And I just want to know what your thoughts were on that. If something like that could be done for Kannapolis. Because 100% for your taxes to go up.
Yeah.
Hold up. Hold up.
It is. And I think we have until, I'll need to, what's your name? Amy, let me study it. Let me study it a little bit before I get back to you. But I think you have until July to appeal. I think
Yeah.
that's what my statement said. So,
Can be put in place that something that maybe you would consider for putting a cap on something like that. I don't know, like who you could work with. Like I said, my neighbor is from Florida and they put 3%.
yeah.
Is all they allow it a year.
What I'd like to do is have a conversation with Jane Dixon, someone on city council, someone to help me think through what might have been done in a similar fashion before. So yeah, I will jot that down and make that something that I need to do some homework on in terms of what that bill would look like. Diamond, do you have any suggestion there?
Well, I think we all have to remember the amenities and conveniences that we want in our communities have to be paid in a certain way. I also know that it is a cost issue for our seniors. And there are several different programs at a county level that can help with county taxes. And I'm not sure if the city of Kannapolis has something similar to what the county has for taxes for seniors, that you get 65 and then they try to help you if you have a disability. If you're a veteran, they try to help you. I know that there is something at a state level for veterans. I don't know so much for seniors.
Yeah.
and they're only willing to cut back that 10%, you're still at 90%. I understand what you're saying about the amenities and all that, but 100%, if you're taxing for 200 grand, now they're 400, you know, like that's what it's based on.
Mhm.
It's gone up that much.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in a growing area. I will say that you are in
Yeah.
a booming area.
I'd like to take your name and number so that I can get back to you. Okay.
Somebody online?
I can't see you.
Oh.
Just in terms of, I know, oh, I'm sorry, you had a question.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I know Joe asked that we talk a little bit about what we need in our individual campaigns and collectively. So for me, right now, my biggest need is a campaign manager. So if someone knows someone who is interested in that role, because while I am the retired person who's not going to work every day.
We appreciate you though. We appreciate your wisdom.
And not finishing this work until 10 at night is very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's like that every single day. And mostly because I do not have a campaign manager. And the whole thing with not having one is because campaign managers really want to be paid. It's a lot of work. Now, there are different ways people handle that. Sometimes it's a deferred payment, but some people are not totally comfortable with that because they don't know if there'll be any money left in the treasury at the end of the campaign. Okay. So anyway, I'll just put that out there. If you know someone who likes doing that kind of work, maybe they've done this before, you know, I'd be very happy to talk with them. That would be a real boost to my campaign, is having someone else to help with setting up fundraisers, making those contacts to congregations and churches, like I'll be at First Baptist Church in Cabarrus.
Can help you with that would be Mackenzie. She's got her fingers on everything.
Mackenzie, yeah, is.
She might be able to point you in the direction of somebody that
Yeah,
has done it in the past.
she had said she would look at some of the young dams, so.
Yeah.
We'll see,
you need
maybe that someone, so.
somebody who wants to get their chops.
But
Yeah.
other than that, I would invite you to go to my website, and it's easy to remember. It's votechesley.com. Okay, and right on that, I think it's on the first page of the website because there are 4 tabs across the top. But either on that first page or the second one, there's a big box on the left side that says volunteer with Joanne. So that's an easy way for you to just put your name in there, and in the message part, you can say what it is you would like to do. If you're interested in phone calling or door knocking, I would love to add you to those lists because we'll be gearing up really soon to get out there. I'm going to pass these out when Sabrina is finished talking. This is our next fundraiser. It's a walk. It's called Walk the Talk for North Carolina Public Schools. We'll be at Baker's Creek. It's a Sunday, May 19th from 2 to 4:30. So I'd like you to take this with you when you leave, and a card if you don't already have one, or take another one and give to your neighbor. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to acknowledge Rick and Amy in the back, my campaign manager and treasurer. I thank them because it is hard to find those that will volunteer to support your campaign. On my website, sabrinaberry.net, there is a volunteer sign up. When you go in, it says bottom of the homepage on the website. And then on April 21st from 4 to 6 at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church, we're going to have a fish fry. That includes not just seafood. There's chicken wings, meatballs, macaroni and cheese, collard greens. It will be a full menu with desserts, and I hope that you guys can attend. You don't necessarily have to donate to attend. I hope that you do, but we hope to see each one of you there.
You can find me at Team Diamond NC. As soon as you log on, you'll see how to stay in contact with me, how to volunteer, and that information is there for you. I am having a small canvas on 4/20. So next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next, to get some people out. I know that is the same time as the district convention. So it's going to be really small, just probably my neighborhood, because I know a lot of people have moved in and out of our neighborhood. just to make sure that people know that I am their neighbor. Because that's important. And then on the 30th, I know if you have donated to me before, you've gotten an email from me for a fundraiser for Governor Cooper's coming to help support me. Yeah. So
When is that?
on April 30th. If you haven't gotten an email, let me know.
Vince, is that the same day as? What is it? Your event was on the 30th, right?
August.
Okay. Oh, good. I was thinking, oh, I hope it wasn't the same. Good.
Well, I have a question, but I'm just gonna make a comment as a first-time candidate. Two revelations that, kind of hit me more so than I expected was, first of all, sometimes it's not how much money you get, but when you get it.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, a check the day before the election, what are you gonna do with that?
Right.
Now is the time to help these folks. So if we can get the funds to them early, they can budget, they know how they can use that most efficiently. And the other thing is, we talked about organizing events. I was shocked how many times I got phone calls, can you be here tomorrow? So I'm looking, I'm talking kind of at us.
Yeah.
We need to help them by getting them on our calendar or getting us on their calendar early so that they can organize and see their calendar. And time is a resource, and it becomes really a resource the closer to November you get. So that's I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, these are things that we can do now that can help these quality candidates. The question I had is with the carefully crafted redistricting. I'm just wondering if you have any comments about different challenges or opportunities than in the past.
Absolutely. So if you haven't heard, my previous district encompassed all of Harrisburg until you got to Concord Mills and Cox Mill area and around there, and then half of Concord going really splitting Union Street and back to Harrisburg. Now my district is my neighborhood. It skips over Midland, some of Mount Pleasant. Yeah, skips over Midland, and it's like right there. Skips over Midland, Mount Pleasant, and gives me the bigger swath of Concord all the way to the Rowan County line, which changed my district from a 2+ leaning Democratic district, because where the concentration of people are moving to a 3+ Republican leaning district. Right. So the challenge for me this time, and then I'll tell you what the challenge is going to be for Sabrina, because is getting those independent voters, people who waffle on specific issues, but that lean more aligned in some specific areas towards a Democratic ideal, to be able to stick to that Democratic ideal and vote that Democratic ideal in November. The biggest issue that we all are going to have in November is that this is a presidential election year. Because we know all of the candidates that are on the opposing side, and I'm being kind, are, I don't want to say Trumpsters. They're just maggots. I don't want to say maggots. I just want to say so far right, they fell off the cliff leaning, that there are a lot of people like them here. And they like to show up and they like to show out. So we need Democratic folks to have the same amount of muster as they do. We need you guys to show up and show out at every turn. And we need to pull those people who waffle over to our side. it's gonna be a feat. And I can tell you, I've seen your candidate recently, and he's got pictures galore of him and that guy all over. And the people who fell over the cliff really love that. So that's what she's facing. She's gonna need a lot of help and a lot of strength behind her, a lot of prayers, because it's gonna get really nebulous, is the best way I can describe it. It's gonna get really nebulous, and she's gonna need all the help.
And you won by how much?
I won my previous district by 629 votes. So if you got grandkids in college that still have a Concord, Cabarrus County address, make sure you're getting their absentee ballots to them, and that they are making a photocopy of their identification and going to get it notarized, because my daughter had to learn the hard way to send that back so that her vote can be counted, their vote can be counted. If you are in churches, make sure that your college kids and your church members know this as well, because they can help push those things out, put it in the bulletins, and get people to do that. Like,
That's the kind of
quickly.
information they should have now, not waiting till the last minute.
yeah. So it is of utmost importance that you guys use your wisdom and expertise as seasoned adults to get the word out and to get people to understand how important it is and understand the legacy that we want to leave behind. Because I'm not going to be here for forever. And I want to make sure that my kids are okay and everybody else's kids are okay too.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Two minutes. Well, it's 7:30, but I got 2 minutes. So you can
Just
start.
encourage people.
Huh?
Just encourage people to go.
I am in
volunteer.
like 2 minutes. All right, just a couple things, folks. We also, we didn't get a chance to say thank you to my first vice president, Ingrid, who just walked in, who helped get us up to 200 membership last year. So thank you, Ingrid. Wave to everybody. The other thing is, don't, one thing you got to also remember is talk is cheap. So talk is cheap, but unless you get out and you start using that talk and helping these ladies get voted, you might as well talk to the wall if you don't get out. So let's get out and vote. Now you're talking about the House election coming up. Reminds me of two books that if you haven't read, you should read. One is called Indecent Assembly, and it was written by, I can't remember the guy's name, but he talks about how the assembly ended up being upside down, that they don't know what their blank in their elbow is all about. And the other one is a book that I read in high school called 1984, and I'm reading it again. And the hair's going up on the back of my neck because it sounds like exactly what's going on now. So that's another one you should read. And we just got a couple of birthdays here to go through, and then we're going to leave. So let's say happy birthday to Pat White, Deborah King, Doris Davis, Mary Chaplin, Viola Barrett, Roland Jordan, Ella Mae Small, Sarah Tanner, Harold Robinson, Joe P. Cobb, and Bobby Haig. So happy birthday, y'all. And I'm not going to sing because somebody will take a rope and pull me out. On that note, I call the meeting adjourned, and let's head out so these folks that are kind enough to let us use this room can go home on time. Thank you. Oh, and the next meeting is May 9th. And we're going to have commissioners, candidates, Ingrid Nurse, and Yolanda Rushing. And remember, the meeting starts at 6:30, so try to get here by 6-ish. Good night, everybody, and be safe on your way home and have a safe year. Everybody, thanks for coming.
is